job prospects. Want to get some investment funding. Might figure out a new path after college, career path. Change of heart. Dropping out for 3 months ago. Something else. It happens. Okay, so today we get site contacts. How about we keep it simple? We'll just go down this line, get this side of class first, move towards the back, come around here. Everybody ready to tell us what they got? These are real companies, right? Made up. I know quite a few of the business owners in the area. Okay. So stop.
Okay.
Over to you.
So the company that will be doing the announcement will be Everything Attachments. They're located in.
Hang on, just repeat that a little louder so we can hear the company.
Okay. So the company that will be doing the announcement is Everything Attachments. They're located in Concord, North Carolina. So they produce equipment for the industry in agriculture, for tractors. They make equipment for small utility tractors all the way up to 150 horsepower tractors. The company is a smaller size compared to its competition. Its lead times are also way longer than its competition due to them being on a smaller scale. Everything Attachments produces its own equipment and sells directly to the consumer. In addition to what it produces, it also sells equipment made by other manufacturers. The company is known for their excellent customer service before and after the product is sold, and they're also known for their excellent quality of their products. The contacts for the company will be Ted and Travis, with Ted being the owner of Everything Attachments, and Travis being the main salesperson / sales manager.
So the owners and the sales manager. How did you come in contact with them? How did you pick this up?
I'm a past customer of them.
Oh, you were a past customer.
Yes.
You do some sort of agriculture?
A little bit.
Okay. What's the scale of this company? How many people they employ?
Last time I talked with them was like 120 people.
Okay. So they both manufacture their own agricultural equipment, service and use other John Deere equipment such or
Well, not from General, other smaller companies.
smaller. Okay.
Yes.
All right, excellent. So we have the owner and the salesman. Next up,
I actually did my family restaurant, Cruzado's Pizza. It's located in Oak Lawn. They started around 28 years ago. The owner is Gino Cruzato, which is my grandpa. It's been about a popular food selection for many people in that time span. They were featured on an episode of Chicago's Best around probably 5-ish years ago for their outstanding pizza puffs, which is what they're most commonly known for. They've built their reputation through treating their customers like family and with their unbeatable prices. You can get an 18-inch pizza, which is their jumbo, for just $15, and the quality of the food passes that value. They separate themselves from the competition with their sweet sauce. A recent addition to the company has been their pickup window. So they just took out dine-in around 6 years ago because they were making most of their money from pickups and deliveries. So now they're just pickups and deliveries. So they made a little pickup window so customers don't have to stand in the cold. The reason Cruzado's Pizza doesn't allow customers inside was because they expanded their kitchen actually. So now their kitchen was double the size that it currently was back then. The work I choose was my mom. She's the manager there. She controls employment. She'll hire and fire any delivery drivers. I'm a driver. She's also in charge of like my schedule. She calls for food supply like Toronto Bread, Jack and Pat's on 107th and Richland. We get our steak from. She handles all the paperwork, makes sure everything's balanced out, and then once she's at work, she helps make sauces, cuts up the vegetables for salads, preps the dressings, answers phones, and then dispatches the delivery drivers.
awesome. How did you get in contact with these people?
From birth, yeah.
All right, so same location as the original location, right?
Yes.
Haven't changed. How many people can you seat in there currently? That's what you said, it's a small place, right?
It's mainly like
Just like bar stools along the side sort of setup?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mainly standing areas. There's some chairs in there, but mainly it's quick in out and then deliveries. So
Your grandpa started,
yeah.
how long ago?
I think it was 28 years ago. My mom said.
Oh, okay. Wow, excellent. All right, I'll have to check it out. You said the Pizza Puffs, right?
Yeah, Pizza Puffs. Yeah.
When are you gonna be listed on the New York Stock Exchange?
I don't know about that one.
Are there any plans to expand and purchase another store? Or?
There's one called Mama Grasana's in Mantino that's managed by my aunt, but that one's not like as popular as the one that's in Oak Lawn. But he's getting a little older and he's getting a little tired of it, so like I don't think if anything it'll be expands. He might sell the place soon, honestly. So
Where do you come in all this? I mean, you're young in business school, you know, like.
I'm just working, get some extra cash for college.
So you're not planning on taking over?
No.
Might be worth looking into, right? It's already set up,
I mean, yeah, I guess, but
restructured.
yeah.
Some stuff we'll talk about today, mergers and acquisitions. Maybe you can acquire or merge with some other pieces possibly. All right, excellent. Next up.
Alright, I'll be analyzing the Next Level Planning Group. They're a financial planning company based out of Rosemont, Illinois. They were founded in 2002 and currently have about 20 employees. They're a subsidiary of the Lincoln Financial Advisors Corporation. And of the 20 employees, most are certified financial planners, with a few being considered analysts and human resources. And then my site contact is Leslie Ray, one of the certified financial planners. She's the main recruiter and oversees interns.
How'd you get in contact with her?
I did an internship there.
Oh, okay. What did you think? How did it work out? The business?
I enjoyed it. I think getting out.
Take a look at the commission plans that they have.
They did that system.
Yeah. You know, a lot of those Lincoln Financial, there's some other ones too, Northwest Financial. You know, they come out to the universities and colleges and speak to the students to try to recruit. So it's worth a shot if you want to become, you know, certified financial planner or certified financial analyst. Just keep in mind, right, you're still young and impressionable in the business world. A lot of times you do a lot of work for a lot of nothing with the hopes based on a particular commission. It seems to never come around, right? So just keep in mind when you see these recruiters, or even when you're applying for these types of jobs, right? Because a lot of times you'll need either some sort of certification or some licensing regulation by the financial authorities of Illinois, or federal government at the level of Series 763, CFP, all these different things. A lot of times those things take a long time, so you're really not making money until you finally get the license. So just something for all of you to kind of, so you don't waste your time applying for these jobs that offer commission. Sometimes they're not worth it. But excellent, all right, great, you did an internship there. All right, next up.
The company I'm analyzing is called Elite Sports Performance, and it's basically a training facility based out of Aurora, Illinois. It was founded in 2009, and it's a pretty big facility. They have 10 cages in separate areas, around 6 bullpens, a massive field house, 2 weight rooms. And they have 2 nutrition bars with Gatorade machines for the college athletes that like to come back. And then they offer lessons from trainers who used to be professional athletes in multiple different sports. And then they have travel baseball and softball teams. And the 2 contacts are the receptionist who works the front desk named Lisa D'Alessandro, and the owner, who is Mark D'Alessandro, who is her husband.
So husband and wife, owner and secretary.
Yeah, and then there's 2 other owners who do the lessons there, who are former professional athletes who I know too.
Okay, so you got a partnership going on?
Yeah.
How did you get connected with them?
My older cousin was getting lessons there, and then I started to work there as I was basically the janitor. And then they would let me use the facility, and I've basically been going there for like 10 years.
Do they have any competitors nearby in the area?
Yeah, there's like a huge dome. So this facility isn't typical. Usually sporting facilities are in like huge, massive domes. This is kind of a building that they reworked to be a sporting facility. But there's a dome that's literally like 2 minutes down the street that another baseball organization has. So, and they do lessons, but they don't. They're more based in like the travel perspective of it, not so much the lessons and like daily stuff.
Gotcha. They're different business model, the same.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Next up.
Mine was Bo Jackson's Elite Sports. They're a leading indoor sports training center in the country, having 3 locations in Lockport, Bensonville, and Columbus, Ohio. It was founded by Bo Jackson, who's arguably one of the greatest athletes of all time, John Cangelosi, a 13-year LNBA veteran, and Jim Thompson, the current CEO. They have a current and past history of developing many collegiate and professional level athletes. They allow training opportunities for baseball, softball, lacrosse, soccer, football, and individual athletes who just simply want to become better athletes. They do this through, obviously, the dome. It's all turfed out. They have 2 separate fields, about 20 cages, kind of like a mini soccer field in the middle as well. Their professional style of coaches work off of a philosophy of putting extraordinary models for player development, dedicating themselves to training athletes inside out. They seek to find the elite performer in all of their athletes, helping players on the path to excellence and giving them a competitive advantage. My site contact was Elijah Hickman. He's an intern at the facility as part of BSF Performance, the performance training aspect of the facility. It's basically like the strength and conditioning aspect of the center. As a part of his job, he's involved in the personal development of athletes, helping kids through the workouts by explaining how to perform certain exercises, correcting the form of athletes improperly doing exercises, and being there as a support. Athletes who train at the facility typically have a program that they are supposed to follow, and he's someone that's kind of helps them out to understand the why of what the program is about and like how it's tailored to develop them as an athlete.
Okay. All right. So Elijah, what is his official position?
He's just I guess a sports and conditioning intern
Sports.
with the facility.
And how did you find them, or how did you link up with them?
He's on the team with me for baseball.
Oh, okay. All right, excellent. Bo Jackson may be my top 5 favorite athlete of all time. Who here knows Bo Jackson?
Knows of him or knows him personally?
Knows about Bo Jackson. Yeah, say even better than Deion Sanders. Anybody disagree? Overall.
For the time you played, yeah.
Yeah, for the time he played, yeah. All right, Bo Jackson. Who's up next? What you got, Christian?
Alright, so the company I'm doing is Beltone, which is a hearing aid manufacturing company based in Chicagoland area. And I'll get to why I say Chicagoland area in just a second. They were founded in 1940 by Sam and Faye Posen in downtown Chicago after helping a friend with hearing difficulties. And they released their first model, the Model H, in 1940. And a bit later, the Minuet was released as the first ever behind the ear hearing aid model, which was advertised on national television. And the site contact for this is Lisa DeLeon, who is my mother, and she has been employed by Beltone for over 31 years. She's worked previously in the assembly line, expediting orders, the repair department, and the factory technical support department, and currently works as a patient care specialist, which I apologize I didn't go in depth to that in the document, but to explain, it's not exactly like customer service, but she does deal with customers and orders and the dealers themselves. And she currently works at the North American headquarters, currently based in Glenview, Illinois. However, I mentioned they're based in the Chicagoland area because as of April this year, they're expected to move back into the city, into an office in downtown Chicago. I believe it's like a couple blocks away from like Hamburger University.
Okay, so down in, West Loop.
Yeah, Randall.
All right, have you done any work for them? Have you volunteered or mom let you come in and do some stuff?
I mean, I did go to like a Greek and Work Day once, but not really. Not really into the business side of things just yet. But I think this project would help me further my knowledge on, not only where I'm working, but how a nationwide company like those will function.
Okay. So do they have any other locations outside?
Based on like conversations my mom's had, I believe they might have some sort of offices in Bloomington, Minnesota, and I believe the manufacturing itself might be more of China.
Gotcha. All right, thank you. Next up.
So my company is going to be Sweet Baby Ray's Catering. They're located in Wooddale, Illinois.
Sweet Baby Ray's?
The catering,
The
yeah.
caterer. Okay.
So they're obviously an offset of the barbecue sauce and restaurant. They offer catering services to large events, mainly weddings and other corporate size events. They basically just let the event planners look at a menu and choose what foods they would like off of there. And then my site contact is Deuce Raymond, who is the co-owner and director of culinary at the catering site.
So the owner and director of the site itself?
Co-owner and director of culinary.
Alright. So they only do focus on catering?
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
the Sweet Baby Ray's like brand is split up between the sauce, the
Yeah.
restaurant, and then the catering.
And catering, okay. And how did you get in contact with them, or what made you
I
contact?
worked there over the summer, and the co-owner is a member of my congregation, so I've talked to them quite a bit.
We able to get some good information moving forward. Okay, next up.
I'm doing Wheels and Sprocket. It's a bike repair, bike parts accessory store. There's multiple different areas throughout the Chicagoland area and Wisconsin area. They've been around for 50 years now. They first started out as a family owned business, and then they kind of spread their wings out. The way I got in contact with them is I actually went there one time to get my bike repaired, and I thought it was a really good company to do. The contact I have is Kim Candy. She's the general manager for the Parkridge shop. They also host different bike events as well, so they have a weird name for it, but they have 3 or 4 throughout the year, and it's they really care about catering towards the bike community. Even if you're an experienced biker or beginner biker, they really want to make sure that you have a good time riding your bike. So.
Okay. Where's this location again?
Parkridge,
Parkridge, I think I said
right by
spot.
Rivers Casino.
Is that the only one?
No, there's one in
Yeah.
here, Oak Park, and then there's one in Evanston, and then there's multiple ones in Appleton, Oshkosh.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen them a few times. They do only mostly high-end bikes, or?
No, they do ranging from kids bikes to professional. They get the whole spectrum of bikes.
And how did you connect with them?
They had one it was when I went there, and then I also went on their website and I found Kim Payne's contact information, so that's how I got it.
All right, in the back. What do you got?
So the company I chose is called Nosh Chicago, and it is a South Asian dance company located in Chicago. I last semester was in a marketing have a brick and mortar store or like a where they run their business from. So they rent a location to do their workshops, and they also do wedding choreography. And lately they have been doing South Asian Bollywood style parties all throughout Chicago. So their main specialty is dance, and then they branch out into these other things. And they do performances, and they have some members that have choreographed for different Bollywood movies and things like that. And so I work with, my contacts are Priya Patel, who's the head of marketing, and Priyank Thacker, who is the founder and lead choreographer. And so they're super new and they're growing pretty fast. So,
Alright, yeah, you say they don't have a physical location, they just kind of move around.
yeah.
Did you sort of, take them up on dance training or lessons?
They invited us to a workshop, and it was kind of not a standing invitation, but like it seemed like there were gonna be more. So it's a possibility, because I was able to make the one that they invited us to, but there's definitely a possibility for me to go to one of their classes. But one of my team members who made the initial contact, she went. She said it was cool.
Awesome. How do you think they're doing so far as a company, as a startup?
So far I think they're doing pretty well. They're growing, they're mainly focusing on social media and growing, like selling tickets to their workshops, and they're growing pretty fast. They have over 1,000 followers, and they have a really loyal customer base. So like the people who come to the workshops come every week, and then their Bollywood style parties are getting a lot more new people in, and they're going for people like college students around that area in Chicago. And I think they're doing pretty well.
Okay. Yeah, maybe you can ask Priya if they, plan on, purchasing physical location or leasing those spaces. Be interesting to see, sort of the followers having to really find out where these next events are gonna be versus having a physical location. How that impacts the business. All right, next up.
I'm doing the Target retail stores.
Okay. Anyone?
I talked to their customer service and they said to like call in with any questions, and then I also got a couple of their their press email and their corporate email.
So you'll be able to find a lot of public information about Target, 10K reports, all these different things. Why Target?
I was at Target. I'm gonna lie. And
You
then
said you were at a Target or you worked at Target?
I was at a Target.
Oh, yeah, at a Target.
And then I was with my cousin, and she didn't know a lot of like their online things or like how they like price matching and stuff like that. So I was like, they have a lot of things that some people don't know about. So I was at Target.
Alright. I say figure out if you want to do a particular region of Target, specific area, or just, them as a company as a whole. Them as a company as a whole has a lot of information. It may actually be maybe a little too robust to really pinpoint anything, but just something to consider. Alright, yes sir, tonight.
Alright, the company I chose was Kegel Bowling Technologies in Lakeland, Florida. They were founded in 1981 by John Lennon Davis and David Jennings. And it's a bowling facility where they give lessons each day to like new bowlers, and they build like products like lane machines where you oil lanes, and build pincers as well. And then every day, how I got in contact with them was Del Warren. He's one of my bowling coaches.
One of your bowling coaches?
Yes.
Oh, you're on the bowling team?
Yeah.
Or tournaments? Okay. Who's their main competitor? Do you know?
It would probably be Brunswick.
Brunswick. All right, awesome. Interesting stuff. Places from all over, and bowling, Target. See what else we got, buddy. What do you got?
Yes, I'll be doing my company analysis on a local coffee shop back in my hometown called Auntie Ray's Coffee Shop.
Okay.
I think it's a really cool coffee shop. It actually just opened up right before COVID hit, so it opened up February 2nd, 2022, which was really unfortunate when COVID hit because they were just starting up. but they're still able to give takeout for both coffee and lunch.
Where's back home?
Merrill, Wisconsin, sorry.
Merrill, Wisconsin.
Yeah, Merrill, Wisconsin. So during COVID, they primarily focused on being able to take out, kind of like a drive-through, although they didn't have like a necessarily drive-through window, but people could come in for pickup and whatnot for their coffee as well as their lunch. They primarily offer 3 main coffees that they actually switch out one of the coffees every day, so it's new every day. My site contact is his name is Jacob Farkova. He's a member of my congregation back home, so I see him at least once a week in church. But I also see him whenever I go back home. I'm actually able to go to Ani Ray's coffee shop. They only have one main competitor. It's not a very big city, so they only have one other coffee shop in the area, which is called First Street Coffee Shop. It's also located on Main Street. It's actually down the road a little ways from where they're at. So.
Okay. How do you think they're doing business-wise?
It definitely took a toll, like during COVID and all that, which was really rough since they were just beginning. But they're actually, I think they're gaining popularity as opposed to the First Street Coffee Shop, which is down the road a little ways, and their main competitor. I think it's gaining popularity because I know there's a stigma behind First Street Coffee Shop, and that's that they have a long wait time. Because since it used to be the only coffee shop in the area, lots of people go to them for either lunch or breakfast or just for coffee. And so now that they were big, it just took a lot longer for people to get coffee or for them to get lunch. So people have been going to Ani Ray's coffee shop, which means it's been gaining a market share, you could say, because more and more people have been coming to it. So it's definitely gaining in popularity. I prefer Ani Ray's as opposed to First Street Coffee Shop.
Is there Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks nearby in that area or not?
There was one like 20 minutes south at a much larger town. Which as I was talking to the owner last Saturday, so 4 days ago or something like that, Jacob had said that he wants to eventually be able to expand, but right now he's just focused on making up the cost and everything from COVID. So being able to establish himself in our town first and then expanding to the larger town in Wausau.
Okay, so he's just trying to break even.
Yes, right now he's trying to break even before he even thinks about expanding. So.
And they took advantage from the other coffee shop not being able to make things quick.
Yeah. So, and they're quick. They can only seat about, I think, 30, 35 people in their coffee shop. So, not very big, but.
Yeah, I think that one's gonna be interesting to hear about how they're. Yes, sir.
So the company that I am choosing is Detroit Sports Commission. They're a nonprofit organization, and what they do is they put on all like the events in Detroit that aren't like for the 4 major sports teams. So like they like bid on like events such as like in 2027 the Final Four is coming to Detroit at Ford Field, and then in 2024 next year the NFL draft will be in Detroit as well. So they bid on like things like that and like NBA All-Star and all that. And yeah, some of the events that are coming this year, they have the 2023 Rocket Mortgage Classic, which is golf, the USBC Masters, which is bowling, and then they also have the Quick Lane Bowl, which is a bowl game for NCAA football as well, and that's played at Ford Field as well. And my contact is Marty Dobek, and he's a deputy director there.
So are they in the like event hosting, event management,
Event. Yeah, I would say like the event like management, event hosting type industry for the city of Detroit. So.
And how'd you get in contact?
I was thinking about possibly doing an internship with them over the summer.
Okay. You
So
from Detroit?
yeah.
Great.
So I did Kirby Coffee, which has 2 locations, one in Oak Park and then the other one's in Forest Park. And they're kind of a new coffee shop. The owner opened it, one of them in 2019. And he originally is from Colombia, and his family had a coffee farm, so he started sourcing more and just building up his coffee knowledge. So he has an 11-acre farm to get green coffee beans, and he also has ties with 600 coffee farmers, and they really focus on being sustainable and farmer fairness. There's no middleman, so they pay the farmers fair wages and everything. And they also have partners in Chicago with Tutoring Chicago, Center in Halstead, and many more. So they're supporting other businesses and giving back. And the contact I had was Jessica Reed, which is one of the store managers.
that so far 2 physical locations.
Yes, and
in
they're
here.
opening a third around.
They're opening there. Where? You know?
I think it's also somewhere in Oak Park.
So he owns an 11-acre farm in Columbia, sources his own coffee beans from there, bring them here, cut out the middleman. How are the prices, you would say?
I would say they're pretty good. They're like normal coffee prices. I've been there a couple times and they're not outrageous prices.
I have to check, I'll check them out. Maybe I'll bring a cup of coffee or something. Right. Okay, next up.
I did Courageous Bakery in Oak Park.
Courageous?
Yes,
Yeah.
Courageous. They also have a location in Elmhurst, so there's only 2. And it was started by 2 sisters. One of them had cancer, and they took up baking to pass the time during cancer treatments. And they have like cakes, cupcakes, cookies, all kinds of bakery stuff. Then they also have options for breakfast and lunch, and a coffee bar. So they have like a lot of different options. And then they do wedding cakes, cupcakes, and they have food trucks that are in support of cancer research. And I got in contact with one of the assistant managers when they emailed me back saying that I could talk to one assistant managers.
What are they known for most? Any specific pastry or?
Their cupcakes.
The cupcakes. It's awesome. I'm glad we got some local businesses. Yes.
So I'm doing Oracle Corporation. Basically, they sell database, software and technology, cloud engineering systems, and enterprise software products. So they're headquartered in Texas. And my site contact is Joe Frick. He is the head of partnership development at Oracle Advertising.
Were you able to contact Larry Ellison or not?
Who?
Larry Ellison?
No idea who
That's the CEO. Sorry.
Do you know?
I met him before, yeah, I know. He's like the 15th richest dude in the world. But, all right, so Oracle, from what you've seen, they're doing pretty good right now?
I know they're pretty famous, yeah.
Have you used Oracle at all? Any database management? Okay, we got Oracle. And last but not least.
So for my project, I'm gonna be analyzing a company called Made Global. They're
What's the name of it? Repeat it again?
Made Global.
Okay.
So they're basically it's a nonprofit company based out of Williamsburg, Virginia. Were founded in 2017, in the fall of 2017. It's run by one of my youth pastors from back home. Her name's Holly Webb. She basically designed it as a fashion company with the goals of like bringing light to some of the ethical issues in the fashion industry, and just again bringing to the light and emphasizing the fact that each piece and each accessory or clothing item, anything that's made, it's made with a story behind the people who produced it. So she went on a trip basically to Haiti, where she was serving, and she saw some of the artisans that were working there and how much effort and love they put into their items. So she just kind of made it her goal to bring to light those ethical issues, and then also just give some props and give some credit to the people who are making those different types of clothing and everything like that. Again, like I said, my site contact was my youth pastor, Holly. She still works for the company. Of course, it's her company, and she has a brick and mortar shop back in Williamsburg. And then also my sisters both have modeled for the company over the past couple of years. They continue to model, and they also work at some of the like pop-up marketplaces they do around just to drum up business for their like general store, because of course it's a smaller company, and she wants to continue to get it some publicity, but of course that takes time.
How are they doing so far?
She's doing well. Like I said, she started in 2017, and she just opened the brick and mortar shop this past summer. So she's been growing steadily from 2017 till now. She took a little bit of a hit with COVID and everything like that, because it was a little harder to really sell, especially with most of her business coming face to face. but she was able to recover again, like I said, and produce that shop. And then a lot of her publicity is coming through either their website or through Instagram, and she does a really good job of like just getting the info out to as many people as possible.
Okay. And does she source her items directly from overseas?
So yeah, she some of it comes from Haiti, like I said, from the people, because she still has a lot of connections from the Wings of Refuge home, which is a home that was opened after the earthquake in Haiti, the really bad one a while back, and she sources a lot of the stuff from Haiti, but she also has other products that are made just from around the world. It's not all just centralized at Haiti.
Excellent. All right, great job, everyone. It's going to be interesting as we go along and analyze these companies to see what we can find out. Possibly instructing them what we observed to say, hey, how could you be better? How could you be more efficient, right? To analyze to maybe improve some of the operations and give it to these companies. The exception of Target and Oracle and the big ones like that. But for smaller ones, there may be a way for us to propose some strategies on how they, can be more competitive and maybe potentially generate more revenue. So think of this, you graduating out of here, you could possibly become a consultant of some sort, right? Say you understand operations, right? You understand strategy, you understand modeling businesses, you understand competition amongst businesses. So something to consider, even starting your own business, you could just start a consulting group or a consulting firm, just be a business analyst and business consultant. Basically using things you learn in the classroom to help businesses become better. Giving them packages, marketing packages, business packages, competitive packages, et cetera, et cetera. That's a very low-cost business to start, right? It's just the difficult part would be marketing yourself coming out of the gate. Something to think about. I used to have a team of people that used to do that, but I no longer did that. Since like 2017. I don't know, I just lost it. All right, let's wrap up our lecture actually we have a new one, new chapter. Mergers and acquisitions. M&As. Finish up mergers and acquisitions last week? I remember. All right, mergers and acquisitions. I know we've talked previously about companies that have bought out other smaller companies as some form of competitive advantage. But there's a lot of different strategies on how to evaluate if a company's going to be successful. Mitch is part of your organization. We'll go through those evaluations. All right, so in the 1980s and the 90s, M&As were very, very big. Like I told you before, private equity groups start buying out a lot of corporations in order to try to restructure them, to possibly bankrupt them, as well as a lot of other businesses within the housing industry, in which case we saw the decline of that in the 2000s, a lot of the strategies. But these played a central role in the restructuring of U.S. businesses during the 80s and 90s. It really scaled up a lot of businesses to become really conglomerates at that point by gobbling up smaller businesses as being used for a strategy. They're being used with greater frequencies in many regions of the world today. Israel, Saudi Arabia, Korea, China. There's a lot of companies from those countries which are purchasing a lot of American businesses now. We can see this even within the car industry. So essentially cars are like cartels, in which case say Volkswagen Group owns 20, 30 different brands and makes and models of vehicles. Ford has gobbled up some other smaller vehicle makers. Fiat, Chrysler, those have expanded tremendously by buying other smaller vehicle producers, so on. You're used to try to create more value for all firm stakeholders by increasing the number of shares by incorporating these businesses as part of the parent group. And they're challenging to effectively implement. Yes, you can have the money to buy these smaller companies or buy competitors out, but it's hard to really manage them if you're not really certain on how the business is ran in order to even manage individuals from those other companies. Accordion needs to update the technology here. All right, a merger is a strategy through which two firms agree to integrate their operations on a relatively equal basis. An acquisition is a strategy through which one firm buys a controlling or 100% interest in another firm with the intent of making the acquired firm a subsidiary business within its portfolio. In essence, you want to own majority equity within a company, 51% or more, in order to really acquire it, have control over it. And a takeover is a special type of acquisition where the target firm does not solicit the acquiring firm's bid. Thus, takeovers are unfriendly acquisitions. And acquisitions are more common than mergers and takeovers. So why would a company want to acquire other companies, right? Firms acquire other companies for a few reasons. One is to increase the market power that they currently have, overcome entry barriers to new markets or regions, avoid the cost of developing new products if they are interested in entering new markets, and increase the speed of new market entrance. Also, they want to reduce the risk of entering a new business. Thus, starting from the ground up will be very costly, very technical, and take a long time. So you want to buy a pre-existing business. Become more diversified by increasing that portfolio, and reshape their competitive scope by developing a different portfolio of businesses. And enhance their learning as the foundation for developing new capabilities. What are some of the largest, say, acquisitions we've seen take place recently? Yes.
T-Mobile and Sprint.
Yeah, so T-Mobile and Sprint. T-Mobile bought out Sprint a few years ago, slowly but surely to begin to integrate Sprint into its fold. Now, essentially, Sprint is T-Mobile. Right? And lastly, we'll end off here. Market power exists when either a firm is able to sell its goods or services above competitive levels, right? Or the cost of a firm's primary or support activities are lower than those of its competitors. The market power is usually derived from the size of the firm and the quality of the resources it uses to compete to get a share of the market when it's complete. Any questions before we go? All right. We'll wrap up on Friday, and I think there's a few more people who need to talk about their company contacts. So I'll see you on Friday. How we doing?